Hi, everyone. Get ready for a meaningful and insightful conversation with Dr. Allison Wilson, a licensed psychologist and expert in fertility counseling. As a respected voice in the field and a dedicated advocate for mental health in reproductive journeys, Allison shares her wisdom on the emotional complexities of surrogacy and egg donation, covering everything from trust, communication, and the importance of mental health during this process. In this episode, Allison and I dive into the importance of knowing your why behind becoming a surrogate or egg donor, the emotional highs and lows that often come with a journey, and the power of feeling seen and supported. Allison also shares how she's now leading support groups for gestational carriers at Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, creating safe, empowering spaces for surrogates to connect and thrive. Whether you're a surrogate, an intended parent, or someone supporting others through this process, this episode is packed with warmth, practical insight, and encouragement for the road ahead. Enjoy! Me, you, and who? Who knew it would take more than two people to have a baby? In a world where infertility is no longer a taboo topic, this podcast will take you through all of the different aspects of surrogacy and egg donation through the lens of many who walk this journey in different ways. My name is Whitney Hall, and I am a two-time surrogate, now turned surrogacy coordinator for Egg Donor and Surrogate Solutions, the very agency I used when I chose to carry for two amazing families. With this podcast, it is our goal to help guide and support you as you learn about what it takes to grow a family in an alternative way, as well as hear inspiring and beautiful stories of how this path has changed lives forever. We can't wait for you to hear about just one more way happy families are created every day. Anyway. Well, seriously, Allison, thank you so much for doing this. I'm so excited that we get to chat with you.
This will be good.
Absolutely. Okay, so for those who don't know, Allison, you are a psychologist, and my experience with you is I've gotten to call you up whenever we have intended parents and surrogates that are matched, and we get to do the fun psychological screening, and same with our egg donor program and all of that. But how did you even, let's go back and how did you even become involved in kind of the third party and surrogacy and egg donation and just all of that?
Well, rewinding way back, I had just always been interested in women's health and reproduction in particular, and back in graduate school taught classes on human sexuality and things like that. And then I started my private practice, and I wanted to be in that focused area. And also had my twins, and through Mothers of Multiples group, I met a lot of women who had their twins through fertility treatment. And it kind of just matched really well. And at the time I was in Houston, and it was Houston IVF at that time, and they asked if they, back in the day, if I would serve as their consultant and start doing these third-party consults and screenings and things like that. And so, since I am a mom, I'll do anything to help someone to become a parent, because it's such an honor and privilege. So that's how I got into it, and been doing it, oh my goodness, a long time now.
Oh my gosh. No, for sure. But it sounds like you were kind of on that track, in general, and then it just sort of,
the universe aligned itself, and it just, back then in 2003, there weren't a lot of mental health professionals who specialized in this area. And so I kind of just grew with the industry in this field. So,
for sure. So starting from, so to be in the industry kind of, I love to say, like, the industry's kind of always been there. It hasn't always been talked about. And
True.
right. And so more and
True.
more,
True.
that's one of the great things about this, right? Is it's becoming, just a less
Oh
taboo
yeah.
topic. And, it feels like everybody knows somebody who's either doing
Oh
IVF or
yeah.
been a
Yeah.
surrogate and, just all of that. But I'm sure, I mean, you've seen kind of just that evolution of the
Completely.
importance of the mental health aspect of just what a journey like this can be.
Yes.
As a when I was a coordinator, you kind of everybody's really really excited to like get started on kind of like the medical process. Like everyone's kind of
Yeah.
thinking about that and like that medical screening and then and
Right. Right.
medications and just kind of that side of the story. But why is mental health so important,
Oh gosh.
particularly in a surrogacy journey, but of course, really with all journeys? Why is that such an important piece of this?
Oh gosh. Yeah. Well, first of all, we are dealing with literally issues of life and death. We're
Yeah.
trying to bring an embryo and a little life forward, and that's not always easy. And there's challenges there. Medically speaking, I mean, with the surrogates part, she's excited to do this and really, really wants to help the intended parents, and
Yeah.
typically hasn't had a reproductive problem herself in her
Mm-hmm.
personal life. And so I think a surrogate can come in just so positive because that's what she knows. But it's really hard because the intended parents usually have a history where it's not that easy.
Right.
And so the mental health piece is just huge for both parties. And the surrogate in particular, it's really making sure she's able to be present for the intended parents,
Mm-hmm.
and navigate that. It might be her first time to do any type of transfer or any fertility treatment.
Sure.
And so it's foreign, it's different, and needs a lot of emotional support going through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then the intended parents also need that support because they're trusting someone else with their
Yeah.
precious embryo.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand in the medical part, I marvel at,
Mm-hmm.
but the mental health is so important all around, just for support. And we humans, we hope for the best, we plan for the worst, and things come up, right? Right.
Yes.
And I remember someone a long time ago told me, a match between surrogate and intended parents, it's kind of like an arranged marriage.
Sure.
You don't know them, but you are sharing this intimate thing in your
Mm-hmm.
life, and you've got to tie together, and you got to figure it out. So you
Yeah.
it can be really hard navigating that. So I really do believe that all should get their support, and the intended parents and the surrogate can't always lean on each other for the same type of emotional support because
Mm.
if there's a loss, let's say, the intended parents are devastated.
Yeah.
They're gosh, it's so hard, and the surrogate is also so upset and disappointed, and there might be guilt, and so you can't necessarily share or lean in that way. So it's good that each party has their own separate support as well.
For sure. For sure. I was
Yeah.
gonna, yeah. I mean, yes, absolutely. Because it is so,
Mm-hmm.
especially in that aspect of a loss, it's, you're both going through the
Yes.
same thing, but you're feeling it in so many different
Yes.
ways.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was going to ask kind of, what do you feel like are maybe kind of some of those like big feelings that show up maybe most often in kind of that surrogacy journey for both the surrogate or the intended parents?
Sure, sure. For the intended parents, the big emotions is first accepting that we need to use a surrogate.
Yeah.
And there's oftentimes a huge grief and loss, especially if it's a heterosexual
Mm-hmm.
couple and it's the woman who thought that she would be carrying the baby.
Sure.
And so there's a huge amount of grief and loss. And then the next leap is really a leap of faith and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Is this woman, the surrogate, going to do it as well as I would have done?
Mm.
And those emotions are really big.
Yeah.
Most intended parents have tried, and so they're very used to disappointment, heartache, failure. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think they can come to this with what I say, they're protecting their heart. They,
Yeah.
they're just protecting it, and I get it. And so those emotions are there, and then there comes the surrogate who usually does pregnancy. She does it well, and she kind of rescues the day. And
Sure.
so the intended mother can feel sometimes jealous or threatened, or I wish that were me, while at the same time so grateful that she's doing
Mm-hmm.
this and I owe
Mm-hmm.
her everything. And so lots of big emotions there, right? And then, of course, I mean, we want to control how everything happens. And
Sure.
so a lot of intended parents want to do that. And I completely respect and understand that.
Yeah.
Surrogate end is, like I said, kind of coming into it like, this is going to work and I'm going to do so well and
Sure.
I'm going to give their baby and then
Miss
going,
Cheerleader, Miss
yes,
Positivity.
yes,
Yes.
yes. And that is lovely. We need that, right? But
Yes.
then I think she can be surprised at the journey in any clinic. I don't care which one it is. There's a lot of hurry up and wait.
Yeah.
Like, we need this, we need this. Oh, wait, hold on. And
Sure.
so that can be eye opening for the surrogate at first. And I think obviously she's doing this to help and is excited. And sometimes surrogates can be surprised, like, why are the intended parents not so excited? Or
Mm-hmm.
why are they just, kind of stand off a little bit? And
Sure.
so they're coming from this from a different angle. So I always, like to educate the surrogate beforehand. They're coming from it from this way, and you're coming
Mm-hmm.
from that. And if we can have like cross empathy of which each one's going through, it can be really, really helpful as you go through the journey. But yeah, those emotions, utter excitement, of course.
Sure.
There may be just nervousness for the surrogate, like, I hope this goes well, and
Yeah.
I want to prove that they chose the right one, and that
Yeah.
type of thing can happen as well.
Oh, sure. It's a lot of
Yeah.
simultaneous, like all of these things can exist in one person
And
at the same time.
yeah, it's not either or, it's both and. It's both and.
Yeah.
And I think both parties have to tolerate just the unknown and have a commitment towards one another and respect
Mm-hmm.
towards one another, that this is such a intimate, private, important journey
Mm-hmm.
to bring a
Mm-hmm.
life forward, right?
Yeah, no, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. I
Yeah.
think it is. I mean, I was that surrogate who came in and was like, "Oh, this is gonna be great. Everything's
Yeah.
fantastic."
Yeah.
I don't. It didn't even occur to me. I remember I went. It was my first transfer, and my intended mom was. She was driving me home, and she had dropped me off, and she looked at me and she goes, "Whitney, I just want you to know that if this doesn't work, it's gonna be okay." And I was so
Yeah.
confused by that statement. I was like, "What do you mean it's not going to work? I didn't even.
Right.
What do you mean? I
Right.
don't I don't
Right.
understand." And that was really like the first time that I really sat and was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Oh, that's a
Yeah.
possibility."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's,
Yeah.
I mean, and then you're kind of feeling this weight, and then but then you're like, "But wait, why would you even like there's so much that can happen
Mm-hmm.
all at once, and having that
Mm-hmm.
mutual empathy
Yeah.
for each party is
Yeah.
is
For
so
sure.
important. What do you think, what's maybe some of that kind of, emotional preparation that maybe is one could do, or kind of, what would you feel like is just so important to maybe, as you're in the beginning of that type of process?
Okay, for both parties. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For the surrogate, it's being able to just be present, be open, that this is a really big thing,
Yeah.
and know ahead of time that the intended parents may show up, like we're talking about, in a different way. They may be
Sure.
standoffish, they might be really involved, they might be funny or nervous laughter, or they, which is
Sure, absolutely.
normal, right? But
Yes.
just being open that, like, having a preconceived expectation can be challenging because not everyone's going to
Mm.
meet that, right? And so,
Yeah.
if the surrogate can be open that I am open to this process, and these are big feelings, and let me revisit, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What led me to this? And so being really open, having that support of either their partner or their community, and letting people know that this is their journey and they're going to be starting upon that, or that type of thing. But being open to and tolerating different emotions is
Mm.
I think the best way to approach it at the beginning. Intended parents, it's also so hard, easier said than done, but that emotionally preparing, we chose her, we trust
Mm.
her, we trust the agency. There's many, many eyes on this process, myself
Yeah.
included, or the mental health persons, that we're all on team baby.
Mm-hmm.
We're all here again, to have this life come forward, and as much as possible trust in that, which I know is a very big thing I'm asking. Also being respectful of the surrogate. She's an independent person, and she
Mm-hmm.
has her life. She usually
Yeah.
has children, or maybe young or a little older, and being respectful in your communication with her, and
Mm.
also being able to tolerate things going to happen. Human
Sure.
relationships can be messy. They can be great. They can be all sorts of things. But long as both parties emotionally prepare for, all right, here we go, and really that intention for all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's so much there that I just want to unpack because,
Sure.
and that whenever you say, things can happen, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
100%. It can
Mm-hmm.
be I mean, I feel like that's one of the things, right, that a lot of people struggle with is kind of that waiting for the other shoe to drop, which makes
Yeah.
it, which can make this journey so hard. But
Yes.
exactly to your point, kind of releasing that control in an uncontrollable situation, you
Oh
know,
yeah.
your surrogate's going to get sick. She didn't mean to, but
Right,
it's going to
right.
happen. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Things
or the
happen.
snowstorm's going to happen and that
Yeah.
OB office is
Yeah.
closed and we're not going to be able to get to that appointment, but like it's going to be
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Exactly. And I will say, I've been privileged to work with many, many people over the years, and intended parents, they're typically very successful people, as is the
Yeah.
surrogate. And going through this journey is so hard because you're like, what? In school, if I worked really hard, I got an A.
Yes.
If I work hard at work, I get a promotion. But with infertility, sorry, it doesn't.
It's a roll of
No,
the dice.
it's a roll of the dice, and nobody's
Yes.
deserving to go through this. It's awful. And if you're a same-sex couple, I mean, you have to go through this process, and it's so hard. And so this is oftentimes their first encounter where, you know big picture, this is not in their control
Yeah.
at all. And I
Yeah.
don't know about you, but I don't like that feeling
Nope. Nope.
at
Not my
all.
favorite.
Not my fave, not my fave. And so, little picture, they'll focus on what they can control.
Sure.
That is human nature. And it's good. And it also, it's both and, we need to respect that the surrogate, we're trusting her in her
Yeah.
body and her physician, and she knows what she's doing. And so it's hard. like I said, a huge leap of faith, but it's also can be such a beautiful experience that
Mm-hmm.
it took all these people, you know, to
Yeah.
bring this baby into the world. So,
Oh gosh, these babies are some of
right?
just the most wanted babies ever. I
Oh,
mean,
ever. So,
for sure. Going on just that subject of trust, what,
mhm,
maybe it's communication, like what
mhm.
are the best ways to kind of build that trust? I love the illustration of like it's kind of like that arranged marriage. I mean,
Yeah.
you know
Hmm.
each other, as much as you know each other on
Yeah.
paper, right? But now all of a
Right.
sudden it's we're doing this really intense, as you said, intimate thing
Yes.
simultaneous to like,
Yes.
oh, I like chocolate chip ice cream too.
Yeah.
Like
Right. Exactly. And you think about, okay, in marital counseling or relationship counseling, we think about mood, and I'm like, here's this colossal collision of money. It's
sure.
very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we're also talking about sex, which is, like trying to have a baby and that's not working the old fashioned way, or you need assistance.
Right.
And then we're mucking with hormones,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, oh, I can see why
This
this
is a
can get
perfect storm.
storm. Yeah, for emotions, for all sorts of things. But yeah, but with trust, I think it's obviously it's a mutual thing.
Yeah.
For the surrogate, I cannot emphasize enough that show up when you need to show up,
Mm.
communicate. On the other end are these anxious parents to be, and so communicate. Trust is when you trust someone, it's like they show up, they are relied upon, they're consistent in their
Mm-hmm.
communication,
Mm-hmm.
that there's not ghosting or ooh, because then the anxiety creeps up. So be real
Sure. You kind of
consistent.
jump to that like worst conclusion in your head, and
Yes.
your brain starts
Yeah.
filling in
Yes.
that
Yeah.
story,
Right.
and
Right.
yeah.
Right. And so, at the beginning of the process, I will encourage both parties, like, it's okay if you agree. At the beginning, let's put a little structure around it. Let's agree
Mm.
to communicate after each appointment or every Friday, or and putting that structure allows both parties to go, oh, okay, because the surrogate might go, oh, I don't want to bother them, with too much information, and the
Sure.
intended parents can be the same way. So if we put a little structure at the beginning, and then it's going to go in its own natural rhythm,
Yeah.
right? When you get to
Yeah.
know each other a little bit better. But back to trust, it's open communication, it's consistent communication, it's consistent behaviors. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want something coming out of left field that shocking everyone. And I'm not talking the weather or something else, but it's just being consistent, and on the intended parents, same, and being respectful of her boundaries as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, she has a life, and you are a big part of it, but you're not the only part of it for her.
Sure, sure.
Right. So,
Yeah. I feel like I hear, there's a lot of people who come to this and, will ask the question, what kind of relationship, do you want? And, oh,
mm-hmm.
would love a friendship and, would love to, they kind of have, I wouldn't say expectations, but they have dreams, they have
Yeah, yeah,
desires. And,
sure, sure.
I hear a lot of people say, would love for it to organically happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I think that's fantastic. But I love this idea that you said of let's start with some structure.
Yeah,
Let's kind of alleviate this like
yeah,
will
yeah,
she, won't she, will they, won't they, kind of
yeah, right.
situation, and put a little bit of structure, and then from there there's a lot of organic that can happen.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially, yeah, at the beginning, because you're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
and I always advise both parties. Yes, most want a warm, engaging relationship, and starting that way sounds great. And if a friendship develops on top of that, that's golden, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily a requirement, because what if you get into this process and you're like, not my not my clan, not my people, but I'm
Yeah.
thankful. But we just thank you, and I want you in my life, but we're not going to be BFFs,
Right.
and so it's good to just at least start with that open approach, and then yes, it will organically evolve, right?
Yeah, for sure. But if you have that base, I feel like of just mutual respect, mutual empathy, just,
Yeah,
even
yeah,
if you don't become best friends, exactly to your point, it's just I'm thankful for you. And that can be
yes,
enough on both sides. Like that
yeah,
can,
that's
yeah.
fine too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
love that. I love that.
yeah,
So, we are lucky enough that you are going to be leading some support groups for gestational carriers with Egg Donor
yes,
and Surrogate Solutions. Yay.
yes, yes.
In general, what do you believe makes a support group so powerful during a journey? And you kind of already alluded to, you can't necessarily, intended parents and surrogates can't always lean
Yeah,
on each other. And you've kind of mentioned what it is to, like, you kind of need to
yeah.
have that support system. But
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear kind of just what makes kind of that maybe support group aspect so important.
Oh, great question. Great question. I mean, in the support group, when I lead them, one, it's a place that's safe. And there
Yeah.
are rules of, what's said here is a
Vegas
safe
rules. What
space.
happens
Yeah,
here stays
it
here.
stays here, right? Right, right. So it's that. But again, simultaneously there needs to be trust in the group, right? And how
Yeah.
do we develop trust? Well, we do it by having boundaries, by being respectful by in our conversations, by knowing it's going to stay in the room, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So having that is helpful, and then being with um, other surrogates, because
Yeah.
it is a unique role, and not every woman can do this. It's a
Mm-hmm.
calling for many, and a gift, and an ability beyond that to be able to do this. So simply having others, even if you don't even say anything in the support group, but you absorb that, oh, I'm not alone in this, right?
Mm.
So very, very helpful in a support group manner. What is helpful is hearing others' experiences and journeys, because
Yeah.
you might be in a situation that you weren't expecting, and you're like, what do I do here? Or how do I feel about this? And there might be a surrogate a little bit further in her journey who can share her own wisdom, or
Mm-hmm.
it's okay, you've got this. And I especially like that it's led by a professional, or a facilitator too, because if you get a group of people, I mean, we could vent and go on, and
Sure.
then sure, there went the hour, and it really was just a venting session. And support groups more than that. It's
Yeah.
being able to hear whomever wants to share. The facilitator needs to be mindful of, okay, let's let everyone have a chance to talk if they
Mm-hmm.
want. No
Mm-hmm.
pressure, no pressure to talk. And then kind of being able to find a theme here that, oh, this is what you may all be experiencing right now, or
Mm-hmm.
not. And so
Mm-hmm.
then I also like to end any support group on a positive note. Like, I want people to leave it feeling better than when they came in, right?
Yeah.
Because some I'll get feedback from clients over the years, like, oh my god, that support group just drug me down, and we don't want that either, right?
Mm-hmm.
um, so that's where I think the surrogate support groups will be, I think, a good experience. And you know
Yeah.
it's a unique one, so I'm excited to get them started.
100%. So exciting. Again, you kind of already touched on it. It is so wonderful to be able to speak to others who
Mm,
are kind of going through, something similar.
yeah.
Why is it so important to connect with others that are going through, that even if your journeys aren't the same, because no journey is,
Oh, right.
and you might not even be having the same life experiences, but there you have kind of just this one commonality. Why is it so important to be able to have that available to you?
Well, we humans, we don't go at it alone.
No.
We're not made that way,
No matter
and
how hard we try.
we try. We can be fiercely independent, right? But we know that anything you're going through in life, when you have support, it's just a qualitatively a better experience. And
Yeah.
I think with this support group, again, being a surrogate is extremely unique.
Mm-hmm.
You are pregnant with someone else's baby. You move through the world as a pregnant person, and people make comments, and
Sure.
but do you explain? Do you not? Do you go
Right.
through this? And so it's a privilege to be able to do this, and at the same time you're living your life,
Yeah.
your daily going to work, taking care of the kids, and so being in a room full of women who are also that, and you're
Mm-hmm.
right, each journey's very, very different, and but there's some comfort knowing, oh, okay, obviously we all have the common denominator, we wanted to do this
Yeah.
and we're on this journey,
Yeah.
but I think it is just being with others and then feeling understood.
Yeah.
That's that is so important in life. Just if it's just one person who understands what you're going through, good, bad,
Mm.
ugly, but they're there listening. And
Yeah.
this support group is also an opportunity to have undivided attention, to pay attention to this part of your life. And you're
Mm.
not being distracted, pulled apart. It's you get to just be in it for a moment with others who are also in their journeys of being a surrogate. So
Yeah.
it can be such a rich experience. It can be, but bottom line is to feel understood,
Mm-hmm.
and you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And here is a group that is doing this very unique, wonderful gift in your
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I feel like, I think a lot of people seek that out, but you'll see it there's almost kind of a fear behind wanting to share that part of your life, or oh, what if I'm in that group setting and people can see my face, so then they know who I am. And so you'll see a lot of people instead, they'll post anonymous online, and I feel like
Uh-huh.
it kind of leads to exactly what you said. It ends up just being event session, and you really don't
Yeah.
get anything from
Yeah.
it, and it almost becomes toxic in some
Toxic. It can,
cases.
for sure.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
would you say to maybe someone who's kind of on the fence about, joining a group, maybe worried about anonymity? I mean, whatever it may be. What would
Mm-hmm.
you maybe say
Mm-hmm.
to somebody to encourage someone who is kind of on the fence?
That's a great question. Well, your agency, myself, we put boundaries around it and
Yeah.
confidentiality agreements. So that's step one.
There you go.
Right? That this is confidential information,
Yeah.
and that we need that, right?
Yeah.
Because in order to feel vulnerable, I mean, who wants to feel vulnerable? Like, ugh,
Oh,
you got to
scary.
feel safe, right? And so
Yeah.
we're going to put those structures in place to begin with. But I think it's also come and see.
Mm.
I lead the group where you're not required to talk. If you
Yeah.
don't feel like it and you just want to absorb, hey,
Mm-hmm.
great. Because
Yeah.
for some, trust takes longer to develop. And
Mm-hmm.
some are extroverts in this process and are going to say everything and everything. And I may need to go, okay, let's go on to the next person, right?
Sure,
And
sure,
then
sure.
I've got people who are shy or very private or introverts. And I get that too. But everyone's welcome at this table, and you don't have to participate that first time. There's not going to be pressure,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And just, I do want to see your face because this is a community.
Yeah.
And we want it to be an open community between each other. So I would just say, just come check it out. And if you're finding not my jam, okay, that's fine
Yeah.
too, right? But I really admire your agency is wanting to do this. I really
Oh,
do.
thank you. Yeah. I mean, again, going back to kind of what we said in the beginning, it's not just about the calendar and the shots
Yeah,
and the medical
right,
screening appointment
right,
and,
right,
all of that. This is
right.
a emotional journey from the beginning, from
from
before.
from before when you get selected, or maybe you're meeting the intended parents that first Zoom
Yeah.
call. It's emotional, right? And
Yeah.
so we want to provide that support if it's going swimmingly, or if you're finding it's challenging, or you didn't see something come up.
Mm-hmm.
What a great place to be able to talk in a safe place of, oh, I'm going through this,
Yeah.
and know you're being understood.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I feel like that being understood part is just so important because again, you get some keyboard crusaders or
Mm-hmm.
you do have your support and you have your spouse or your friends, but
Yeah.
they don't know. They don't fully understand.
Right.
They love
Right.
you, but they
Right.
don't know.
Right. Right. They're going to support you the best way they know how. Right.
Yeah.
But it is a unique, like I said, thing that you're doing, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's I think will be a really neat opportunity to share that with others who get it, who
Yeah.
really get it.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What message would you want any gestational carrier or intended parent, to kind of take away when it comes to their mental health during this process?
It's being able to check in with yourself and your
Mm,
mental health. We can so easily bypass, oh, I'm all right, or it'll be okay, or
sure.
things like that. But making sure that you do have your support in place before you begin this journey, be it
Yeah.
a friend, a family member, a mental health professional, online support, just having that is so essential for both the surrogate as well as the intended parents. And you want to have that ready. And I put it like this, there are people in your life that are like in the VIP section, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
those are the people you turn to no matter what life throws at you.
Yeah.
And I can envision, a little red cord like in a theater,
There
here's the
you
VIP
go.
section, right? And you want those. And then we have others in our life, and maybe some are out in the mezzanine. I don't know, but it's like, but the
Sure, sure.
VIPs, I want you to have that. And it doesn't have to be a lot of people. If it's just one person
Yeah.
who is checking in on you, so helpful. Like I said, your own mental health, like, how am I doing today?
Mm-hmm.
Or I think a golden question to ask yourself, the surrogate as well as the intended parents, throughout the process is, what do I need today?
Mm.
Do I need to cry? Do I need to send an emoji to the surrogate? Do
Yeah.
I need to get out of my head and go take a walk?
Yeah.
But check in, like, what do I need today? Because this is a long, long, long journey, right?
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
many stages, parts and pieces that are moving around, and so I think it's also helpful for both parties to break it up in stages. Like,
Mm-hmm.
there is the match phase, and then there's going to be, the pre-testing, and then the actual transfer, and hopefully waiting for pregnancy results, pregnancy, so on and so forth. But within each stage, asking, what do I need emotionally right now? And what do I
Mm.
need logistically? Do I need to make
Mm.
that phone call? Do I need to get a massage? Do I need to, right? And so
Yeah.
it helps to break it up into stages, because the idea of finally, having the baby can feel so far away for both parties, really.
Yeah.
And so that can help a lot too.
That's such a beautiful, simple question
Mm-hmm.
that I feel like I personally can, I mean, I can totally relate to just
Yeah.
complicating it. Of it's not, I don't think I ask myself, what do I need today? I think I always think of, well, what do I have to do today?
Have to do. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's like the same thing of um, what, what do I need to do today versus how do I want to be today?
Mm,
Those are
yeah.
totally different. And I get we do have our to-do list,
Sure.
but if you start the journey in each day of how do I want to be? How do I want to show up
Mm-hmm.
within this journey of surrogacy? And
Mm-hmm.
that can kind of help ground both parties
Yeah.
as they go through it as well. So yeah.
That's a beautiful starting place. That's a sticky note on your mirror right there.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
Coming from, again, you have had the privilege of, getting to kind of begin in this industry when
Mm-hmm.
it was, not as talked about, and
Yeah.
you've kind of gotten to watch an evolution.
Yes.
What would you say, like, kind of maybe what are your hopes as this, whole industry, just third party, keeps evolving when it does come to the mental health
Mm.
piece of this?
I I mean, I agree. It is becoming more and more transparent, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that. My wish would be that each fertility clinic is really mindful of the mental
Mm.
health aspects for all
Yeah.
whomever walks in their door. And some are very good with that, and others need to kind of grow it a little bit more. But
Sure.
the mental health for even their staff, the nurses, they're the front line, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how are they and getting them trained, and are they aware when they see trauma or so it starts with fertility clinics. I want to see more of them offer training. They're informed. I would love that, more and more agencies do this type of thing
Yeah.
where it's not a transactional thing between the
Yeah.
surrogate and intended parents. It's so much more than that. And so offering different levels of support, be
Mm-hmm.
it support group or however, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's great. There, I know, are more and more mental health professionals that specialize in this area, which I think is a great thing.
Yeah.
And getting it normalized, if you will, that,
Mm.
going through fertility is a big thing. And we know from research it's a life crisis for
Yeah.
emotionally, right?
Yeah.
But different than other life crises, it's suspended up in air. It's not resolved yet. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
different type of thing. And so just being aware and having the public more and more educated, obviously mental health, the advocacy around that.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, that's the dream. That's the dream. I feel like
That
we're
is the
heading
dream.
there slowly
Yeah,
but surely. I think we're
we're
heading
getting
there.
there.
We're getting there. We're getting
We're doing our part, right?
there. Absolutely. Maybe for someone who is just just beginning to explore,
Mm-hmm.
either it's an intended parent who's kind of just gotten their news that, hey,
Mm.
you're going to need to look at different avenues, or it's a woman who's thinking about wanting to be a surrogate or egg donor. What would maybe be your one piece of advice that you would want to give them if you had to take it down to one?
One, okay. For for the donor and surrogate, I would want them to really sit with what, why do I want to do this?
Yeah,
What,
what's your why?
what's my why? What is it? And really sit with that and revisit that.
Mm-hmm.
And it often speaks to the woman, and I know I do want to do this. And it's so helpful to have clarity on that because
Yeah.
when it gets challenging or difficult, or this isn't what I expected,
Mm-hmm.
then you can return to, no, no, wait, why did I do this?
Yeah.
And it can change your perception, right? So that's for them. For the intended parents, oh gosh, it's hard to put down into one thing, but one, allowing allowing yourself to grieve
Mm-hmm.
before you take this step,
Yeah.
be it using a donor or a surrogate. Recognize this was and is a loss, and it's okay to sit with that, be with that, own that, so that we can integrate that before you embark upon this, because it's big.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that applies. I think whenever people think of, grief, I feel like a lot of times you're thinking about like a heterosexual couple who's gone through infertility and all of that. But I
Right.
feel like that idea of grief applies to everyone.
It does. It does. It I mean, same sex couple, you love who you love, but you're missing some ingredients, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you have to grieve that you will not have that full genetic connection to
Mm-hmm.
the child that you thought,
Yeah.
right? A single individual. Well, you're grieving. Most are will tell me, I didn't think I'd be single going through this,
Mm-hmm.
but the desire to have a baby's really strong, and
Yeah.
so I'm going to create my family in this way. But you're right, there's still grief around that,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not saying you stay in the grief all the time, but it's just honoring it, recognizing it
Yeah.
before you begin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
No, for sure. That's so, so important. I think that, yeah, that it's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, absolutely beautiful. You're
Mm-hmm.
so right.
Yeah.
So my last question to
Sure.
you, Allison,
Yeah.
and it's a fun one. Um, for you've seen me sipping on coffee this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a very codependent relationship with her. Coffee and I are very good friends. And I always love to ask the question, what filled your cup today? And I know it's early, but we've still had a morning, right?
Right. Right.
What has filled your cup today? Literally or figuratively, what's been the thing that has brought you some joy today?
What a great question to end on. Well, I am here in Colorado, and what filled my cup is I woke up and I went for a long walk.
Mm,
And the birds are out. It's just now spring,
yes.
and the sun was coming up, and just being in nature grounds me. And I was like,
Mm,
oh, that it's just it makes me realize, I'm connected to a much bigger thing, right? And so
mm,
loved that. And
yeah.
yeah, and I knew I'd be doing this today, and I was like, oh yeah, this is bring it on. So
Oh,
helps
I
to,
love it.
yeah, so that was what filled my cup this morning.
That's beautiful. That's very different from the concrete jungle here in Houston.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know
I know you still
Houston
have a
well.
special place in your heart for
Yeah,
Houston,
I
but yeah.
do, I do. I do.
Oh my gosh. Allison, thank you so much for doing this. And just,
You
I
bet.
mean, I always say, I'm like, Allison's voice is like a hug. And
Oh,
I
thank you,
so
Whitney.
appreciate just your words of wisdom and sharing,
Thank
just again, this
you.
important piece of just what this journey is. And so thank you so, so, so
Thank
much.
you.
And I'm so excited that you're going to be
Yeah.
leading these
Yeah,
support
me too.
groups.
Me too. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been an honor. It really has.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Me, You, and Who. We appreciate your time and hope you enjoyed our discussion today. As we wrap, we would like to remind you of some of the ways that you can stay connected with us and be part of the Me, You, and Who podcast community. Firstly, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. Hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode and can stay up to date with our latest content. But that's not all. We also have an exciting YouTube channel where we share some bonus content, behind the scenes glimpses, and video versions of our episodes. Head over to YouTube and hit that subscribe button there as well. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when the new episodes go live. And for more exclusive updates, engaging discussions, and a chance to connect with fellow listeners. Be sure to follow us on our social media accounts. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Create a Happy Family. If you're interested in finding out more about creating a happy family, please visit us at www.createahappyfamily.com. Thank you again for being part of the Me, You, and Who community. Your support means the world to us. I can't wait for you to join us next time as we continue to share stories and journeys of creating happy families.